Okay, yeah. Okay, welcome guys. Welcome to Sheda House. Today is 28th March 2021.
Yes.
And we'll be having conversations around finding career path, especially for school leavers and maybe people that have graduated from university, from polytechnics, maybe sometimes out of secondary school.
Okay.
Right, finding path, and so we will use our own unique experiences as professionals why we are where we are, right?
Okay.
And the unique thing about us here is that we are all playing in tech, but we all don't have the same similar. We don't have the same background. I have an engineering background, not even tech, but engineering.
Okay.
Right, so we could assume that I am closer to tech, but you guys are lawyers. And that's actually what is interesting. So we'll have two conversations. So for instance, a person like me, I have, from the word go, I knew I would be in tech. I just wasn't sure if I would do software or hardware, right? So it seems I had it figured out a lot earlier. But I can't say the same thing for you guys. But you are here now, so we will have that case study to talk about it. So
Okay.
I would like to hear Oluimmanuel's unique experience.
Johnny.
And Johnny, yeah, Johnny. Then I will have Azeez, Johnny too. Then we will have a kind of, should I say, a conclusion
Alright.
on how anybody should be able to find their path. Yeah, something like that. So that's going to be our conversations. And if you have any question or you disagree with what we are saying, hold on. Yeah, so if you have questions or you disagree with our scenarios or you have something to add, please feel free to send us an email. The email will scroll down the screen or comment below. We would like to hear from you. And we'll be doing this very regularly. So if there are topics or questions you have, career, social, politics, geography, science, technology, law, whatever topic it is, please feel free. hello@shedahouse.com is the email.
Yeah.
So now,
My journey.
yeah, so let me give you a background. So you are a brand strategist. I mean, what you do right now.
Yes.
You are a designer. You are a product designer.
Yep.
You are the general overseer of anything that has to do with visual representation or communication of any product or brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So, how did you get here? What's unique about you?
Okay, so the interesting part of this is, of course, because we said we should speak about school leavers now.
Yeah,
and beyond school leaving, beyond those who have just left secondary school, my path in tech, or it was the start immediately after I left University of Ibadan. So I've always liked design and art, paintings. I used to do that in junior secondary school. My school used to have projects.
You still do it sometimes. Even
Yes,
now,
I like to play around with it. It makes me happy. So I play around. So we used to play around with it then, because project was part of our assessment. So and most of it's like they had this mentality that project is always drawing and paintings.
Yeah.
So it was happening regularly. So I was doing it. So it gave me the opportunity to practice what I liked. I liked doing it. So when it was time to choose between art, science, and commercial, although they felt like, okay, this guy was smart to an extent, so it was supposed to go to science class. And I think the rebel in me was actually one of the things that I said, okay, no, I'm not going to go to science class because all of you are saying science class.
Yeah.
And so I chose art, but I also knew that my sister was already telling me that you like art, you like to read and those things. So I said, okay, I should just go to art. And at the end of my program, I didn't know what to study. SS1, I was saying mass comm. SS2, I was saying journalism. When my dad heard of journalism, he was like, what is that? So I just packed the idea. And then when it was time to write JAMB, I started mentioning law. I was like, what's the next best thing to do with my life? I didn't know what else to choose. So I chose the law that they have been talking about.
So it was much more like you were following the tide.
Yeah. Like I didn't have a better option.
Okay, well,
I said, see, I know you can feel.
something I to an extent I relate with. Okay, so for someone in humanities,
Yes.
when you talk about humanities, you're in arts class in secondary school. Your choices, I don't want to say limited, but from our point of view at that time,
Time.
it seemed limited.
That's
If
all
you
you
don't
have.
do law, you do mass comm, you know,
That is
some of
true.
those things.
Nah.
So it was when we got out and we're already in the system that we knew, the other thing that
Oh,
we
interesting,
possibly
actually.
do.
So
you
for
know.
someone in science, so sciences they have like this engineering which is broad on its own.
Yeah.
There's medicine, they have things,
Yeah,
pharmacy.
yeah.
So those ones they have, but we just have like those are professions that we know. Until you,
Right.
except you want to say English and the rest of it. So that's how it happened for me. Then I entered UI to study law. It was fun. I didn't fail any course, so I was not very bad, but I was also not probably the
You're
best.
actually an intelligent person.
Yeah, so I think so. I moved through school, and it was immediately I left UI. I remember we were going to leave the hostel, and then a friend talked about a digital agency. I was thinking
In Ibadan here.
yes, in Ibadan here, and they were going to take a graphic design course. I was like, that sounds interesting. He said he himself said he wanted to take it too. In fact, my interest was actually spurred him. So we went there together, made inquiries. It was very far from my house, from Ring Road to like Akwete, but I'm still going.
Like
Um,
different ends.
Very far.
yes,
Ibadan,
very far.
Big as Ibadan is.
Yes. So I paid. Going there was the best thing that happened to me because it was internet. So it was my first experience of free internet. You now can
So
enter the internet. So
yeah.
I started graphics design. The way the curriculum was, the teachers of the academy were also working there. Or let's say the teacher who knew graphics design was also working
So they
there.
were industry as professionals.
Yes, but he didn't really have our time because he was working on projects.
Yeah.
So he just gave us like materials. So it just started my own personal search on how to use the internet to find my resources and solve my problems. So I learned it there. I had say a month or two to do that. So I did that there, and before you know it, the time was up. So I was supposed to go. They gave one of us an internship opportunity. I couldn't get it, so I just had to leave. But I had already learned that okay, everything I need is on this internet because I saw it there, and so I just started from
So
there.
it was after then that you met.
Yeah, so-
that you joined Fire Switch. Was
Yeah.
it immediately after or a while after?
So I went to law school.
To law school.
And then I came back and then I met Fast
Yeah.
But
I
my
wanted to understand
my,
how
my
you
this,
joined.
let me just quickly just close it up with my journey there. I knew that beyond graphics design, I had something in me. The creative in me knew how to do a number of things. I knew how I was very interested in how does marketing work, how does branding work, the psychology of it, and why do people respond to design in this way? What design actually spur people? So I was asking those
So how do
questions.
you communicate with visual stuff?
Exactly.
Visual materials.
So I did more than the average. The people I was learning with, I went ahead, searched, so I got really interested, kept asking questions until I got where I am today.
So basically, it was not as if you had it planned out.
No.
It was okay. What's the next thing, right? But the crux of it was something.
interest.
Interest.
It
Yeah.
was interest.
Yeah,
it was
so
interest
interest
dragging
was-
me all
yeah,
along.
all
So
along.
there was no
Yeah.
stop. Mainly I had the first entry, that design class.
I'm even looking at the journey from the university. You know,
yes.
naturally, everybody would believe that if I get into the university, then you are deciding what you want to do with your
Which I
life.
like.
It
Yes.
is not the case all the time.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
It shows that actually we may not be able to figure things out at a certain time,
Yeah.
figure it out later, and still scale.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's an example of what
I remember telling a friend recently too, because she was trying to ask a question about trying to find her purpose, and I was saying, see, there's a part of purpose that you have to try a number of things to actually find out what you
Find
like.
exactly
If
that
you do not
this is-
try,
yeah.
so you try some things and you say no, I don't like this. Like in my service here, I tried law practice. I actually did. I was going to court regularly, Magistrate High Court. I went there and I experimented. And I found out that I like the serene, the environment, but it was not, the joy was not coming from inside.
Yeah.
But with design, like
No
even if
gratification.
there's no monetary, I found pleasure in doing it and pushing it out and see how people interact with it.
Aziz, how many things have you tried? How many things have you tried?
Before I got into tech or
Because you're in tech, this is your boss tech guy.
okay, so Okay, so let me even start with secondary.
By the way, this is Azeez. Azeez is a product manager. Please correct me. Product manager and
A lawyer.
a lawyer. I don't want to mention the law yet.
Okay.
You already mentioned it from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't want to mention. I want to use it as a. Because that's what you studied in school.
Yeah.
So you're a product manager and you are more into growth and marketing basically, and you are doing UI designs.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I want to remember. UI designs. Okay. So how did you? You're a lawyer. Yeah. You've gone to law school. You guys even went to the same school.
Yeah.
Was my faculty president.
We're classmates.
Yeah, the politician. So I mean, how did you find yourself here? Is it similar to Oluimmanuel's journey, or it was a lot more? Yes, I want to do this thing, and you pursued it. In his own case, he had the interest, I mean, but it's not as if someone talked about it somewhere and he picked up the interest. He wasn't chasing it, even though he had the interest. You could have chased it later, I believe so.
Yeah.
But was your case similar? Were you chasing it, or it was a chance too?
Okay.
It was largely chance. Okay, so let me start from secondary school. I was in science class in senior secondary school. Science
That's
class.
actually very interesting. very interesting.
I was in science class. I did technical drawing. For that math.
You did for that math. Man, I'm proud of you, man.
You did for that math.
I was the best for that
Okay,
so
by SS2 second term, for that math was beyond me, so I had to let it go. So I did all of those. I felt that going from junior class to senior class, the smart ones were going to science class. That was the idea. Of course, I knew better eventually. That's of course. So even when I wasn't struggling with grades, I was average, really. But I later found out that I was doing very well in the humanities subjects. I was doing well in English. I was doing well in literature, Yoruba, and even economics. So going along, I felt that. Then I started to weigh my options when JAMB started to get close. So I found interest in psychology. So at least from psychology.
Manu has mentioned it before that he had interest
in psychology as well. So psychology started to. By the time JAMB was closed and my dad started paying attention, and
so
psychology started trickling in his ears. He was like, you know what you're doing? This one must be joking, you get. So when it was time, and I was saying it was psychology, I was going to fill in JAMB. So by the time it was time to fill JAMB, my dad actually followed me to go and fill the JAMB form. And he said, because it was already, I had an interest in law as well, but I just felt I had a bigger interest in psychology. I was more curious about psychology than law. But so I told him I was going to fill psychology first and make law my second choice. Said it didn't make sense. Who makes that kind of arrangement? I should put law first and psychology second. So in the case that in the event that I don't get into law, I can always fall back to psychology. But as God will have it, I got into law.
So
well,
you finished law.
I finished law. I went to law school.
How did you not?
Sorry, quick question. Looking back, would you say that was a better option?
Okay, I was
law
actually
over psychology.
From judging from where I am now,
yes,
I feel that I have a strong background. Law gives me a strong background for other things that I'm currently doing.
So if you are to speak to your younger one, who is a younger brother, who is also who was in that same shoe, who was thinking psychology or law, what will you recommend now?
That depends on his long-term interest, actually. Because if I was coming from a psychology angle now,
That's a political answer.
no.
The thing is that let's face it now. If you're an SF, if you just finish secondary school, you don't know so much about what psychology is because you have not tried it out. Neither do you know so much about law because you have not tried it out.
Yes. So the truth is, I would advise him to study law.
All right.
Yes.
I would do the same thing too.
I will do the
Yes.
same thing. But I want to give a practical. After this phase, I'll give a practical.
Okay. So now
example.
I found out that in product management or in product general, dealing with product, there's a place of understanding user psychology.
Yes.
Psychology.
There's a place for it. I always say that I've started the idea of doing psychology for my master's sometime in the future to understand how consumers interact with products,
how they think,
how
best to communicate.
Exactly. So there's also the place for that. But if as a person coming from secondary school, your mindset is you don't have that plan of okay, this is how I want to be about it, and psychology helped me. Let's just get a degree. I would definitely advise you to study law.
So now, before Oluimmanuel ask that question, I was going to follow up that in our conversation now. If I talk about mine now, you will see that my dad was also at that junction of choosing a course, and there were big influences.
Yeah.
And contrary to what so many people might think, they were brilliant men.
Yeah.
That today I'm grateful for what my dad pushed me to do. So I have actually wanted to always do engineering.
Yeah.
He wanted me to study civil engineering because he is a quantity surveyor. I know
he interacts with them.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
He feels that his leverage will help me in the industry.
Yeah.
He has all the connects, he has read all the books in his life, he has a PhD, he has all the big. So I would literally looking at it anywhere in the world, that stepping stone is going to always push me.
Yes.
But I didn't want it. I wanted to do computer science because I'd always loved software and computers and stuff.
Yeah.
He now, not wanting to force me, advised me to do electrical engineering. Now, do you get it? Similar to what your dad said.
Yeah.
His argument is that okay, don't do civil, but electrical engineering is broader for you. And at the time, computer science was just coming up.
Yeah.
It was just getting carved out of electrical engineering. It was formerly part of electrical engineering. Mm-hmm. So it was a brilliant move. If I'm going to come back again, I will do electrical again. Even though I didn't come out first class. Okay. I came out very average. Right? But I can tell you that I don't regret it. So in the mix of it, there's a cleverness in making a choice.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just about that is forcing me. Sometimes you have to look at okay, this person actually knows better.
Yeah.
So my dad is an academician. He's a PhD holder, he's a lecturer. So I now see that it's reflected in the choices we made.
Yeah.
Right? So example I want to paint a guy that we all know was going to get an admission and wanted to put in for theater arts. And the mom, unknowingly, not that she had any reason, but she felt that it didn't make sense. That he must do mass communication.
He said it now.
So he came to me and told me, I said, well, even though I might disagree with your mom's
on the reasons. Yeah.
I don't disagree with the choice she has, in quotes, pushed you to make.
What did she recommend that he did?
Mass
comm. Okay.
Although she was giving examples of law, mass comm was in the mix.
Okay.
And I said, law is not a do or die.
I know why he chose mass comm. He spoke to me about mass comm. And he didn't know about mass comm.
It was a mom.
He didn't know about mass comm. He called me. So
he didn't know about mass comm.
He didn't know about mass comm. So I told him that okay, mass comm is also a good option. Depending on which school you are going to, mass comm, what they call communication and language arts. Those are good options. English. So it's like okay, what does mass comm? I said they are the ones that you see on TV. So I gave him what is good for his background. Yeah. So that's enough. That might be enough to make a decision.
It was after that he came to me.
Okay.
I disagree with your mom's reason, but I agree with mass comm being an option because you could still spread your tentacles. You could still do diplomas in that aspect. Given the kind of economy we have, we must always put it in the context of the economy.
That's important.
In my own journey, like I said earlier, I had it figured out quite early. Of course, not in black and white, but I knew exactly I wanted to create. In creation, before I entered university, I realized that I wanted to do software.
But when did you start this programming journey? Coding?
100 level actually.
Okay, how did
you get into it?
So interestingly, like I said, I wanted to create. I was curious about how these things do things.
Yeah.
Right? You feel things in jam. So and I went in, I was always talking to people, making my interest known. Do you know this thing? No, I don't know about it. Do you know where I can learn? I was always doing that. Everybody I met, I was always talking about it. So I was not in a place where they were talking about it. And I indicated, I'm looking for this thing though. The person said, okay, I'm willing to teach you. See me so place, so time. When I met him, told me the cost, then it was 8,000 naira. It was a big deal.
Wow.
And my mom paid for it.
Wow.
Yeah. So my parents played a very huge role.
Your mom knew that you liked it?
She knew. They bought their first computers in 2006 or 2005. My dad used to keep it away from me more. I would go and steal it. My mom will indulge me. They indulged me a little bit. My dad was, don't touch it, and that's fine. My mom was like, okay, as long as you don't
spoil it.
Spoil it. I used to play this race game and stuff. But that's aside. So I learned it, and that was the beginning, really. So it was more like.
Was it 100 level you learned it?
100 level, yeah.
Alright.
Opportunity meets readiness, so to speak.
Yeah.
This should be like 2009, 2010.
So you were talking about you went to his room and then.
I went to his room and that's what we started learning. It took me only 2 days. He didn't teach me more than 2 days. I learned basic. Looking at his face.
What do you?
For real, so he taught me the basic elements, how to create an HTML file, and the elements of HTML, and gave me an assignment. And I built one terrible website, my first job. The second one.
It's important that you start with that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important that you start bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Very bad. I still have the code. I'm not proud to show it. So the following day
it's
was
part of your started from here.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
So the following day he checked my assignments,
How you
corrected the
started.
assignment, insulted me very well, and that was the end of the class. He
Why?
didn't call me back. He just disappeared. It was later he told me
He was
that
too
he was
disappointed.
experimented. No.
It was
Like that was what I thought actually. I thought I was a failure. But okay, let me just push. I'm going to pull this guy around. I will do it without him. That was the drive. That was it. So it was later he told me that he was experimenting with me, and he gave me examples of people he has taught. Like gave him garbage in, garbage out, and they were just taking from him. They were not learning, and that is what informed the structure, the learning structure we have in Sheda House today. You know, I'm always saying that. Yeah, that's exactly where it came from.
The learning structure now is that we teach you as much as possible. We give you assignments that
And
make you
push
think.
you think, yeah.
And then we come back, we fix the problems, challenges you
Exactly.
solve, and then we teach you.
Learning from the mistakes you made.
Yeah.
So you give an assignment
And
to
we apply
fail.
that everywhere. Just putting it out there. Because
Yeah.
we apply it in design, in marketing,
coding,
web development,
photography and
photography,
all those
yes.
courses. So that's what we do, and that's somewhat where I got the idea from.
Makes
the same
sense.
way I learned PHP. That was HTML, CSS.
And the
Same way
fact that,
learned
and I particularly like the fact that it's project based. So when I'm doing it, I feel a sense of importance. Like I'm doing
Okay,
something
yes.
actually important. Not that I'm
Right.
just doing something
Yes.
random that has no use. I feel I'm contributing something. So I have to put in my best.
Yeah, because we look
So-
at it, and when you finish your law degree, you have to go out and get experience. But in this case, you are learning and you are gaining experience at the same time.
Pupillage. Pupillage is a big thing in
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
in the legal
law,
industry.
legal
And
industry.
interestingly, I usually say this about lawyers that we should have had that conversation while we were in school. We use 5 years in school, and personally I feel like it's not necessary. We could use 4, we could even use 3, and use a chunk of it for the actual practice.
yeah.
Gaining experience,
Yeah.
networking.
Yeah.
Networking is a big deal.
Yeah.
Too. So in the crux of everything we discuss now is that it is not exactly compulsory, or it doesn't just make sense to put ourselves under pressure or put younger people under pressure to figure everything out. The guy we just talked about now may not end up as a theater artist, and may not end up as a communicator.
Yeah.
He might end up in politics, he might end up in tech, he might end up anywhere. It is just that he is in a place where he's gotten the better advice to be able to spread, meet people, and in looking at Shola's experience and your experience, being open-minded and figuring out what are my interests. So better than I want to be this in life, it just makes sense to figure out what are my experiences, what are my interests, what do I want to do. Shola wanted to be creative, wanted to be an artist, basically, right? You wanted to address issues on humanity. I mean, human. How do I put it? Interactions.
Human
like,
interactions, problems day-to-day problems that people were having.
I think that's a better way to put it, right? Myself, I wanted to create.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I wanted to create that thing you use, that technology. I want to figure out how do you do
Now
it.
the funny thing about me, okay, so you can sit down and decide that, okay, what are my interests? Try to figure yourself out, but it doesn't happen like it doesn't
just follow you.
fall on you exactly. It doesn't just fall on you.
You have to
get out there.
Okay, get out, meet people. Okay.
Try out things and figure out the one that interests you the most. So I was doing law. I knew that somewhere down there, I liked law, but I didn't like the traditional way of practice law. Okay, yeah, what people are the traditional way that people are used to do litigation, go to court, do this, go back to the office, prepare files, prepare pleadings and all of that. I didn't like that. I'm a very restless person. I don't like
You do your
sitting down
body.
yeah, exactly. I can't sit down in one place from morning till night.
Yeah.
So I knew that doing an 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 law work wasn't what I was going to do, you know. But I always knew that what I was going to do eventually would be around coming up with strategies, solving problems, you know, developing ideas, whether my own ideas or people's ideas, you know, have conversations. I didn't know how it was going to turn out eventually, you know. So when during NYSC and I was in the law firm that was reasonably flexible for me. I wasn't going to court, though I had to go to court like a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times, but we're not like a litigation law firm. So there were times that people brought ideas that they were starting companies and they wanted to have have conversations about their policies. Yeah, they were even coming from the legal perspective. So what are the legal implications of starting something like this? What policies can we put in place?
We've had the conversation before.
You know, yeah, exactly. So what I used to do, I was the one that, oh yeah, I'm interested, let me handle it. You know, let me come up with their terms of use, let me come up with their policy statement, let me come up with their standard operating procedure. I used to offer to do those things. So it involved me researching researching about tech, strategizing, and that was how somehow I stumbled on product management. Then
so actually throwing yourself at tasks.
Exactly.
Wherever you are.
Exactly. Yeah. I was practicing law, but somehow from practicing law I stumbled on something that I figured I looked at, okay, this thing sounds like something I really want to do. You know, so I started to research more about product management, I started talking about it. From there I looked at, okay, so there's a place of tech on this side and there's a place of law on this side. How can we bring both together? And who is in the best position to sort of sync those things? Yeah. And I think, voila, product management was what it was. So I started to.
You took a course?
I took a course. I started to pick up more skills. I did digital marketing.
Basically plugging all the necessary.
Fill all of the necessary holes that I took digital marketing. I started product management. Thankfully, I was welcomed. I'd already known about Fire Switch and Shadow House at that time. So I came around, then I got on projects and I started to build the skill that I already learned. And that was basically the transition for me. But before then, of course, I tried to do law, I tried to do project management before, sometime in the window between after law school and NYSC, and a couple of other things. I've interned in certain places, you know, where I did administration, HR jobs, you know, project management jobs, and let me just put myself out there, let me be hands-on. So I figured that I like being hands-on on stuff. I like doing stuff that will keep me on the move.
Yeah. It's similar to Emmanuel's journey too.
Yeah, so we're probably getting towards the end of this.
Yeah.
So my final advice would be that wherever you are, irrespective of, because I don't have friends who are doing court practice and they get to a point where they are tired. And these people are fantastic people, they are fantastic lawyers, but they don't like law anymore, and it's fine. You are going to leave this world once, so if you are tired of it, just move, do something else. So what I would advise is, at the point where you are feeling like I need to change career or do something different, wherever you are, try out new things within your reach. So there are some things that you can do even while you are working your job without leaving necessarily, because of course we need to eat. So you can say, learn about how digital marketing works, pick up a course online, learn about design. There are resources on YouTube, so many of them. And then beyond doing all those things alone, please work on projects, work on real life projects, because as you do that, you start building the confidence to actually get those things done, like the confidence to interact with more people. And you have to be patient because it has to happen over a while.
Over a time
before you actually get really good at it. And you get comfortable saying that I actually do this. So that's my final word.
So in closing, it makes sense that we give ourselves the time. We walk different journeys, and we must understand that our journeys are unique and mutually exclusive
to us.
I mean, in comparison to others. Yeah. So find your path, stick to your interests, and then the sky is the
develop
limit.
your interests.
Yeah.
By skilling up, get on projects like you said.
Yeah. So please, if you have comments, you have questions for us to address, we will have people come in and address those issues for industry leaders. So feel free. Other information should scroll by on the screen after this. Thank you very much. Join us. Don't forget to subscribe below. It's very important. Don't go to hell. Subscribe.